So I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome to Carson City Cultural Commission meeting. And let's do roll call.
Chairperson McBride.
Here.
Vice Chair Dineo.
Here.
Commissioner Aboud.
Here.
Commissioner Bugley.
Here.
Commissioner Geary. Commissioner Nagel. Commissioner Ramirez.
Here.
A quorum's present.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like to invite anyone from the public to comment on and discuss any topic that is relevant to or within the authority of the Cultural Commission. In order for members of the public to participate in the Cultural Commission's consideration of an agenda item, the Cultural Commission strongly encourages members of the public to comment on an item during the item itself. And no action may be taken on a matter raised under public comment unless the item has been specifically included on the agenda. And this is not the time for the grant applicants to come up and give their 3-minute push. So, but if there's other members of the public that would like to come up and say something, please do. Okay, approval of the minutes, March 20th meeting.
Terry, I have a correction to the minutes.
Okay.
On page 3, carsoncitygreenhouse.org has been misspelled. It should all be lowercase, and it should be greenhouse, not greenhouse.
Oh.
Okay. With that correction, I move to approve the minutes of March 20th, 2018 as presented.
Second.
You got a second?
Yep, you had 3 of them.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, for possible action, the adoption of the agenda. The action may be taken on those items denoted for possible action. Items on this agenda may be taken in a different order than listed here. 2 or more agenda items may be combined for consideration. An item may be removed from the agenda or discussion related to an item on this agenda may be delayed at this time.
Chair McBride, I'd like to remove item for discussion only 9A, my monthly or bi-monthly cultural report, and fold that possibly somewhere on our next action item, but definitely to at our July meeting to catch up, but also fold that into maybe a true grit report. So I don't have my typical report tonight, just in the interest of the potential length of tonight's meeting.
Okay, Mark, thank you. Anyone else? No? No. Okay, discussion and possible action to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Carson City Cultural Commission by recognizing 3 Carson City Cultural Commissioners. Go ahead, Mark.
So there's a little error on number 6. The Carson City Cultural Commission was not established on the 22nd of July, but the 17th. That's a clerical error on my part. Doesn't stop us from celebrating our successes. And doing a little digging in the minutes since 2008, I have in front of you for number 6 agenda item, the Cultural Commissioner history. So as you know, the Board of Supervisors, the Nevada State Department of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, the Carson City Visitors Bureau, which is now the CTA, and the Carson City Arts and Culture Coalition have traditionally appointed one person to fill in that role, in addition to 3 citizens at large. And so this is actually the sequence of each one of those appointing units. And it was interesting just to see some reoccurring names that everyone knows in the community. We had discussed at the last meeting maybe perhaps a luncheon or an afternoon potluck, but I think it's important, especially that we've grown so much, and I think this meeting will attest to that. That would be nice if we recognize maybe 2 or 3 past commissioners and discuss among us how we can, now that we're an official arts and culture department under the city, how we can underscore that. So the names are there for the commissioners to discuss and put together a plan of action of maybe in July when we could meet locally.
I'll start. Go ahead. Well, I would like, for Jeffrey Scott, who was a major impetus and is no longer with us, I think that we should do some sort of memoriam of something. And I'm not sure what that is. I recognize him always with the flower basket every year, but I think there needs to be something more permanent with regards to that, so I think that's important. And Peter Barton, who was also on this board forever and ever, was awesome with regards to forwarding the momentum, so.
You know, in thinking of that, you might consider a bench at the plaza for Jeffrey.
That's a good idea.
Recognition.
A plaque on the bench, sponsoring a bench, that might be a good idea.
I'm sorry, who's Jeffrey?
Jeffrey Scott was actively involved with the Wild Horse Theater.
Oh, right, okay.
And was one of the original members on this board for a long time, and then died of pancreatic cancer. Okay.
In italics, you'll see under each category initial term. In italics, that's the first round of 7. And you'll see Jeffrey's name is there, as well as Stephen Lincoln, Peter Barton, Jennifer Russell, Linda Dacey, Karen Abowd, and Peter Livermore. So, you know, again, this is just a discussion who we think we should recognize, how we're going to recognize them, and what help I can get from the commission to put that event together.
I'd also like to recognize Supervisor About.
There's a good idea.
For her tireless support of this commission. And she's been a long-serving member.
Cynthia, did you want to make mention of possible activity at Bliss Mansion that we could?
Hi, I'm Cindy Brenneman, and I'm representing Bliss Mansion tonight instead of the the coalition. And I had invited you to have your picnic on the porch. I think we had discussed it last time. And Mark had given me a couple of dates, and both those dates are okay, but there are a lot of other open dates in July as well. So, yeah, if you'd like to do that.
Thank you. That would be wonderful.
Good, good.
So our next meeting is in July on the 9th. As I said, the actual date the Board of Supervisors passed the creation of this commission was on the 17th. I don't know if we have to stick to those days, but maybe we should give this generous hostess a date so she can work with her calendar.
So I can clean my house?
So, I'd like to propose maybe a Friday picnic type thing on the lawn and veranda, depending on if it's raining. Fridays, because during the week we could probably capture people like Peter Barton is another person I'd like to at least invite.
Yes.
If not recognize for his work on this commission. So if we could catch the workaday types at a Friday lunch there, that might be good. And if we all could kind of tentatively commit to bringing a salad, and then maybe have burgers, and that just make it really easy.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
What time are you thinking?
I don't know, 11:30 to 1, 11 to 1.
The 20th, should we do it after our official timeframe that we became a commission? July 20?
Does July 20th work for
Does that work for you,
the other
Cindy?
commissioners up here?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so let's tentatively schedule that for the 20th unless something comes up in the near future, and then we'll commit to
Okay.
that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Would you like it to be?
Mark it, make a
Yeah.
comment.
Evening?
I think lunch would be best, but we can
working
discuss
folk.
evening.
Yeah,
I mean,
like 5 to 7.
okay,
Something like that.
well, discussion?
What's better?
I don't care.
And let's also discuss
three
who we're
times a day.
inviting. Are we inviting everyone on the past history, or are we opening it up to the public here? I'd like for the commission just to make that decision on their own.
Well, I would suggest that we invite past commissioners, the Board of Supervisors, and friends and family of the Cultural Commission, including, the art organizations.
Wow, that gets to be really big.
Well,
That's huge.
not the whole theater troupe. But,
It could be a representative, or representatives from arts
each.
organizations.
Yeah.
So if not the president, then a delegate.
Yeah.
And do you think between now and sort of in the next 2 months, we could put together sort of an article, a piece about the commission, and hopefully get it in print and press to recognize these folks beyond just we're all the fish in the same bowl, but how about the community to know and understand how many people have worked hard for this community?
sounds good.
I can ask the city PIO to do it, to do
Yeah.
something like that.
Terrific.
So do we want lunch or do we want? Cindy, is it evening better for you or is it a noontime thing better for you?
The porch gets really hot in the late afternoon.
It does, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Afternoon.
Lunch.
Lunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Picnic, lunch.
Do you want to make a motion for that?
Okay, I move that we have a lunch celebration of the 10th anniversary of the founding of this commission, that we honor Jeffrey Scott, Peter Britton, and Karen Aboud at the event, and that we invite past commissioners, Board of Supervisors, and representatives from arts organizations, and have a media release about it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
Okay, discussion and possible action to accept the redevelopment special events grant guidelines for arts and culture. Go ahead, Mark.
So in February, as you recall, we had our first redevelopment grant workshop. It was a refresh of the application that's found online, so it's easier to use. It was a grant workshop itself in league with the Nevada Arts Council. It set scoring parameters, which we're going to be introduced to tonight, and made the process transparent and equitable among all of the arts and culture organizations here in Carson. That all funding is related to scoring, and that the scoring is transparent and easy to understand. Since, I think it was in February when we had that workshop, Lee Plummel and I had some conversation, some communication regarding last fiscal year's applicants and the submission of receipts and paperwork. And in speaking with with Lee. There were a couple of edits we wanted to do to this application process, nothing that would affect an applicant's already submitted or pre-established grant. These are highlighted, and they're at the door here. And I'll just run through them easily, but I would like the commission to vote on approving these amendments, and they are as forthcoming. Page 2, under scoring criteria, 0 equals none, up to 5 equaling outstanding work. On page 4, under the flow chart, the very last step, penultimate step there, files, final report, invoice, receipts with Arts and Culture Coordinator. That's something Lee and I thought, in the end, this next batch of applicants will just send that information to me, because Lee's sort of blind on this process. On page 6, we added Visit Carson City as a reminder of where to post on social media, and these were all sort of a shared cheat sheet of how to get event promotion. On page 7, under credit requirements, I had attended an organization that was funded in the last fiscal year, and I just wanted to put this in there so it's accurate, who to credit and what to say. The venue itself isn't to be credited, it would be the Cultural Commission. And if there's whenever possible, to put that line in printed matter, so that's highlighted there. Under a final report on page 8, I wanted to limit the answer to questions to a 250-word maximum each. Under number 7, submit up to 5 images. And then finally, the redevelopment grant reimbursement, and those are the steps that we agreed that might be clearer for our end of paperwork and processing to do. So again, nothing that would alter the scoring criteria, which the commission had already approved January 24th, actually. And then I'll work with redevelopment. I know that the refreshed PDF is on the carson.org website. And speaking to some redevelopment authority cultural commissioners who have been attending a lot of our arts events recently, they were very interested in this criteria to be posted on the website for their applicants to acknowledge as well. So that's where we stand with that.
So is there a motion?
I move to accept the RAC special event guidelines for fiscal year 18-19 and beyond until further improvements are identified by the Arts and Culture Coordinator and brought before the board for approval. But I recommend everything as presented, so.
Thank you.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Okay. Here we go. Around the mulberry bush.
Okay, this is where the fun starts. Discussion and possible action to score and recommend to the Board of Supervisors those applicants in request of arts and culture funding for RAC special events grants in fiscal year 18-19.
F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Okay, so tonight's, one moment please, let me log back on. Tonight, commissioners will be scoring and discussing each grant application based upon outlined scoring criteria. The available funding for fiscal 18-19 grants is $32,200. This includes not only the 25 that was allocated for next fiscal year, but rollover from 2 past years. This is $10,300 less than the requested amount, which is $42,500, as you'll see it up there on the Excel sheet. Because of this difference in available versus requested funds, commissioners will likely need to convene at a follow-up meeting to determine exact grant award amounts for fiscal 18-19. Again, this was put forth to become a transparent, equitable process. This is hard, as growing pains are. There are not enough funds. However, this information, because the demand is now documented, does provide some leverage on increased public funding in the future, which will be my duty to do. This year we had 11 applications. Last year we had 7, and the year before we had 4. And these numbers, Chair McBride and I shared with our Board of Supervisors, and they're well aware of this. Just as we have sort of outgrown our quarterly meetings, just as we have sort of outgrown that 2008 document that created the Cultural Commission itself, we need to tighten it up to reflect today's missions, to reflect today's talent and today's numbers. This is an opportunity to show the need beyond the 1%, in my opinion. So here are the 11 applicants as the grants guidelines specified. An organization can have more than one application in, but the maximum award would be $5,000. So, for example, they could have 5 applications for $1,000. There are a couple of items I want to call to everyone's attention here. Proscenium Players application, while the due date was April 15th, which was a Sunday, I do have confirmation from redevelopment in the BRIC that application was dropped off at the door between 4 and 5 p.m. This is a city building that locks to the public after 4, and so there's not an opportunity to do that. Lee Plummer has confirmed that it was submitted in on time, so even though it's stamped on the 17th, I've decided, given that feedback on the research I did, that it was eligible. This is something that I'll probably tweak for next year, making sure that the due date and the due time is on there, and making sure that the drop-off applications is a city building that will be open 9 to 5 and not closed after 4, or not closed during the lunch hour. Also, Sierra Nevada Ballet, this is line item 9 and 10. I spoke with the director today. The original request, and this is in the shared binder at the front door, the original request for Midsummer Night's Dream was $5,000, and the original request for Peanut Cracker was $2,000. I called her today explaining that really the max ask is $5,000, and those are the numbers that I was given today to update tonight's presentation. So Midsummer Nights is now 4, and Peanut Cracker is now 1, so that makes it eligible for the 5. The yellow highlighted organizations that you see up there are new organizations. These are new applicants. I'm very grateful for them to have applied. I'm grateful for them to have attended that workshop. And I'm glad that they're here tonight, and they're usually here most often on Cultural Commission meetings. So it's important for me personally to see your names up there. Makes me feel pretty good.
Just to clarify the record, Pinkerton Ballet Theater has
Several years ago.
Yeah. It's been a couple of years, but.
So those are the 11 applicants. Classic Cinema has 2 applications in, as well as Sierra Nevada Ballet. So in an email to the applicants, I explained what was going to go on tonight. I'm going to give each application 3 minutes to be discussed to share why funding is important to your organization to the cultural commissioners. The cultural commissioners are going to be the voting members of the party tonight. I do not have a vote, but I implored them that when speaking up here, that you really look at the criteria, and I left the scoring criteria up there for you to take a look at, but pitch why they should be scored highly on those 6 areas. So each commissioner has a worksheet with every 6 scoring criteria and all 11 applications. And up here you will see the initials of each cultural commissioner. So Chairperson McBride, if she scored a 30 here, then I'd move to Commissioner Dineo. She would put 25, let's say, and so on and so forth. The average score is taken among the voting members. So, for example, Commissioner Nagel is not here tonight, but her absence will not affect the percentage. The same is true for Commissioner Bugley when she recuses herself from voting on Mile High Jazz and Carson Symphony. That omission will not affect the percentages. So you have the average score, and then the average funding, and that is based upon the ask. The first column here, sorry. This first column represents the amount requested for this year, this fiscal year, accumulating 42.5. This is the amount received last year. Now, in the case of, there's a lot of variables when accumulating all this information and different applications and so forth. Sierra Nevada Ballet did not receive 3,300 for Midsummer Night's Dream last year. It received 3,300 for Sleeping Beauty. But when an organization is funded, I think no matter what the program is, I think it needs to be noted, and that's why I put it there. Here is our recommended amount. Theoretically, the commission could give 30s to everyone across the board, right? And the recommended amount would be 100%. If that was the case, we would still be over what we have, which is why why tonight is just going to be the voting, the gathering of the information, the numbers here, and then we will reconvene publicly, and I can put together a scoring chart such as this. This is an example. So, for example, if this is an example right here where, let's say, a score between 100 and 95 is 100% of the funding. Score of 94 to 90 is 90%, so on and so forth. This is just an example I pulled off the internet, but theoretically, if again, if everyone scores tremendously high, maybe a score 99 to 100 is 100% of the funding. Maybe a score 79 and 78 is 90% of the funding. So it's a lot of numbers to play around with, and I need some time to take the information you're giving me tonight to put together for you for your ultimate decision. Does that make sense? Okay.
So we may be able to nail down the
Possibly.
funding tonight?
Possibly.
We've done it in the past, but we haven't had this many groups, that's
Right.
true.
So
And does Commissioner Bugley need to recuse herself for the entire vote or just for the organization she's involved with?
Just for hers.
Okay. Thank you.
So just to recap, we're going to go in alphabetical order. Every application
Let me
gets-
cut you off just for 1 second, sorry. Unless you feel like you have a conflict on anything else. I mean, that goes for any of you, of course, if you have a substantial and continuous business interest and it would affect your judgment, that's that you guys, you know the spiel, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an officer of 2 of the organizations, but I'm also a member of some of the other organizations. Does that effect.
I would err on the side of caution.
Oh, yeah. She did all her scoring and everything.
Is that a paid membership?
Yes.
That's too bad.
So we'll ask that you identify those as we go, one by one, please. So just to recap, all applications get 3 minutes. I'm going to time you.
So does that mean if every single one of us was a member of the Brewery Arts Center, we'd all have to step down?
I wouldn't go as far as being a member would disqualify you, but if there is a financial connection, then I would.
Iris, I'm just going to ask because the Concert of the Stars is held at the BAC. I have no financial interest in that, but is that any sort of a conflict?
Can you give me a little bit more information than that?
We basically utilize the facility, and we're charged for that facility.
No conflict.
Okay.
All right, so we can begin.
Okay. So I'm going to have a timer here, and when it's 2 minutes, 30 seconds, I'll say 30 seconds, and at 3 minutes, I'll ask you to stop. We'll score everyone. If the commissioners need to take an intermission afterwards, you'll let us know. Then we will gather all the commissioners' scores. We'll put them up here on this Excel sheet. And then the commissioners, once all of your scores are up there, I'll ask if there's any adjustments you want to make to your own scores. Okay?
So just if you guys have any relationships like that as people come up, definitely disclose it. And the determining factor is whether a reasonable person in your position would be affected. So you just have to kind of make your discretion. If you have any questions, of course, I would be happy to help. So.
Okay, our first application is going to be the Brewery Arts Center. And the name of the event is Traditional Celtic Music Series.
Hello, everyone. You'll notice that we did not apply for the 11-amp concert series this year. We applied for the last 2 years for the series, and now we feel we are self-sufficient for that. So we have gone on to apply for the Traditional Celtic Music Series, which is currently just finished Saturday night, its 4th season. In the fall of 2004, during a very dark period of history in the Brewery Arts Center, we partnered with Joe and Kathy Bly to create a traditional Celtic music series and cultivate an audience for the Irish music genre. Since it's 4 years since its inception, we have sold close to 3,000 tickets and raised over $77,000 just with that series in our little black box theater. And it happens on the second Saturday of every month, and we're moving it to the third Saturday every month. Joe and Kathy have created a space where local artists as well as nationally recognized touring acts can perform in an intimate environment with theatrical lighting and quality sound in front of a responsive and appreciative audience. Working with us, Joe and Kathy ensure that the artists have accommodations and that a fair paycheck is made by all. We've all been very happy, and it's become a little hotbed for Celtic Irish music for the region and for the area. So we are looking to pay a little bit more attention to it this year. Going into its 5th season, we're going to be opening with a larger group. The Young Dubliners is going to be opening this last season. And we are requesting funds too, since we've been doing this for 4 years. We need an upgrade in lighting and sound at this point for our small theaters, and as well as some advertising dollars. We've never spent any advertising dollars on this series, and we want to make sure that all the artists have a guaranteed flat fee coming in, at least a small guarantee. In the past, we've always done a 50-50 split, so there's no risk on either side. But right now, we are looking to make that make it look more favorable to the artists. I'm done.
Very good. At this point, we'll allow, discussion and questions if you have for each applicant.
Okay, I've got one, Gina. I know this is wonderful, and they deserve the lighting and all of the rest of it, but other organizations appearing in that same venue, they'll be utilizing
Absolutely.
that too?
Absolutely. We do over 100 events a year.
Yeah.
And actually, we share all kinds of lighting and sound instruments among both venues.
Okay. Thank God.
There's only so much.
Well done.
I have a question about the event costs. It says that artist fees are 60% of the sales. And what happens to the other 40%?
It goes to the venue.
So that is part of your profit.
It is. It is. And it's reflected in the total of the $24,000 of the entire series total.
Any other questions, commissioners?
I do have a question. How do you promote the events to include, excuse me, sorry. How do you promote your events to include all people, as you indicated here in your paragraph, to be able to reach out to the entire community? Do you do any Spanish publicity, or how do you reach out to the underserved population?
Not with this event. It goes off. Not with this event. We haven't done any Spanish language publicity, but again, we haven't had any marketing dollars to do so with it. So we do make it barrier free. There is a ticket price, but if you can't afford a ticket, you can always volunteer and come and see any of our shows. So we haven't done bilingual flyers, no.
If I may make a recommendation, if you promote that to the Latino community at the religious organizations, perhaps just a public announcement to draw that community. I've attended some of your events, and they're marvelous, and I wish more people would attend. So it would be wonderful to introduce this to the community.
Thank you.
On the advertising, Gina, how do you propose to do that?
Well, we're looking at all different ways to advertise right now. I'm in the midst of it with Levitt Amp. We're looking at digital direct marketing for advertising, working with Sierra Nevada Media Group for that, as well as paid advertisements in the form of radio ads.
And don't overlook the Tourism Authority.
I've got a grant into them. I'm there.
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next application will be from the Capital City Arts Initiative.
Good evening. Sharon Ross with Capital City Arts Initiative. CCI has applied to support staff funding for its 2018-19 programs. The initiative carefully curates each season's programs to enhance conversations about the visual arts and to promote lifelong learning in arts and culture. We believe that the arts build community and work towards this goal by presenting art exhibitions in 3 Carson City spaces, hosting a speaker series, bringing artists to high school and college classrooms to work with students. CCA community support is evident in its consistent lists of family, individual, and business members and ongoing community partners, all of whom assist the organization to enhance the city's cultural infrastructure. By producing its program in public buildings, CCI extends its reach to new audiences. Each of our host buildings has many members of the public coming in to use the city's services and for their own personal and business matters. These ongoing shows are presented throughout the year and are free to the public. This year, CCI has presented 10 art shows for a combined total of 780 gallery days. Art's available all year long. The exhibits were available to an estimate of 17,500 adults who use the building's public services. The Arts and Education program has presented 118 high school and college student artists in 3 shows at the Brick, and has presented 29 artist talks, gallery visits, workshops to over 800 students at 4 schools and 1 college. The initiative has 2 part-time staff and benefits from an active working board and volunteers who've donated over 400 hours so far this year. And we aim to achieve these numbers again in 18-19. Our programs continue to evolve. This year we presented an exhibition by 8 high school art teachers. Next year we'll present artwork by artists this year that we're considering, present art by artists with disabilities in both the courthouse and here in the Sierra Room, and by art by military veterans, along with art by a variety of students and professional artists. Since 2003, CCI has presented over 66 exhibitions in open public venues and 32 speakers in public forums and many, many arts and education activities. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
I wanted to ask if your request for the grant is for the talks and exhibits or also for the outreach that's outside of the redevelopment area?
No, it's to support staff. None of these activities would happen if we didn't have staff support for them. So we're requesting the funds to support staff, the administration, to make everything happen.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you.
Sharon, I have 2 requests, but first I want to say wonderful exhibits all year.
Thank you.
The teens at the Brick was to die for.
Thank you.
Do you have any current requests out to other grantors? Or any grant requests?
Yes. From memory, U.S. Bank, we're about to submit to Nauman Foundation, Nevada Arts Council, 2 applications into Nevada Arts Council, and John Ben Snow Memorial Trust. That's from memory. I think that's it.
But you do a good job at it. But I noticed something I find a little curious, although I guess it's with the times we get stuck with it. The rental costs for all of these places are pretty high. When I think about the courthouse, people go there anyway. They want $400 a month for, what is that, 20,000?
That's in kind. There's no cash.
There's no cash.
No cash. It's if we had to, if they charge us, there's no cash transfer.
All right. Okay.
That's the value.
The value of it.
The value. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Answers my question.
And Sharon, I noticed that at the Rick Parsons Show in the courthouse, they have the artist statement, well, the statement on the artist also in Spanish now.
Yes, compliments of WNC's Latino cohort and wonderful Herman Fernandez. Yes, so we did it.
Please continue doing that.
We absolutely
I think that there's
will.
a lot of Hispanic residents that go through that gallery every day. So,
no, we
that's great.
absolutely will. And Herman has already said that, yes, he will, as soon as we get the one for the next show written, he will translate it for us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, for giving him that opportunity. He is super jazzed. He loves it. His family is very touched by it. So thank you for that opportunity.
He's a cutie, so thanks. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. So next we'll have the Carson City Classic Cinema Club speaking to the Back to School Bash. I'll give you 3 minutes for that, and then another 3 minutes.
I can go for 3 minutes.
events.
Okay, so this will be a combination of the back to school plus the pirate event, both for McFadden Plaza. One moment.
Hi, Rhonda Aubin with Carson City Classic Cinema Club. Y'all having fun tonight? Yeah?
Always.
Yeah, good. So most of you know me as the director of the Carson City Classic Cinema Club, and you know about our classic film-based events that we use as a platform to raise money and awareness in support of arts education for our youth, especially those with limited resources. But there's another purpose in our bylaws that we are just now starting to bring to fruition, and that's the bringing of community events, family-friendly, interactive, entertaining things that a family can do together, free. The success of our first such event last March, we had the Easter extravaganza at McFadden Plaza, which is kind of our adopted home for these events. Gave indication that the residents are hungry for these events, and studies show that these types of events promote a sense of goodwill and pride within the community. Right now, we're planning on the Back to School Bash in August, and then the Pirates on the Plaza in September. Our events are heavily themed and designed to spark the imagination of the entire family. We do this with creative activities, imaginative play, even some physical. The Back to School Bash, I think we're thinking about, just a hopscotch playground or whatever you call it, board, live entertainment, and of course, an appropriate film. We've adopted McFadden Plaza as our venue of choice in the hope of defining the plaza as a vibrant gathering space for the city. It's our intention to make these annual events and to make them bigger and better every year, and to bring gradually more and more of these types of events. The merchants of the downtown area will also benefit with the added exposure, foot traffic, revenue, and the city gets tax dollars. We are trying to secure donations and volunteers. With each of these events, we were successful in getting plenty of volunteers to help operate the Easter event. We have no reason to believe that we won't do the same here. The funds will be, unfortunately, I don't have the kind of history that the last couple of people have talked about, so I'm kind of guessing at these figures to get live entertainers and supplies to provide these creative activities for the kids. That's what we're using the money for. The films are largely covered by a private donor who actually spearheaded this entire project, and we have just built on it. The film licenses are $450 to show an outdoor film. Actually, anywhere from depends on when the film was made, released, anywhere from $250 to $600, and it goes up all the time. We have every reason to believe that attendance will just continue to grow as the residents get used to seeing our events downtown. And of course, a successful track record will entice local merchants and other groups to partner with us and want to participate through sponsorship, alleviating the need for requesting financial assistance. We are a young nonprofit organization. 40% of our revenue goes to help students and arts programs. Our organization and Scoops, Soup and Ice Cream Bar, financed the entire Easter event. And it was hard, but it was worth it. The feedback that we got was fabulous, and the attendance was way more than we expected. So, that's all I got. Any questions?
Rhonda, if you had to project the attendance, about how many people do you think attend this?
We believe, I wasn't actually at the event, but we believe about 300 people were at the Easter event. Again, we just figure first of all, the Back to School Bash is going to bring a lot more people in because we are partnering with the Ronwood Family Resource Center and CASA. We're donating backpacks to their kids so that they can bring those backpacks to participate. So we've already got added marketing there. So we are fully prepared to expect about 600 locals. Again, just guessing. And the pirate party is going to be really exciting.
That's right around Talk Like a Pirate Day.
That is the weekend before to get everybody ready. We will have a Talk Like a Pirate workshop.
So I noticed on your cover sheet that you requested $2,500 in funding, but then on your little spreadsheet on the next page, you have a total of $2,050.
That's my trying to type too fast.
So which number are you requesting?
Let's go with the 2050.
Okay. That could help us out a little.
Yeah.
Everything's negotiable.
Excuse me, the fund requested changed for which event?
Well, for both of them.
I think both of them, yeah.
For both of our totals on the second page were $2,050, but the front sheet shows $2,500.
I think I just put 2,500 in the first one because I could, and then when I did the math, it came out to 2050. So we're going with the 2050.
So can we change both of those
Yes,
requests to
please.
2050? Okay. That helps a little. Thank you very much, Rhonda.
Okay, thank you.
So next we will have a presentation by the Carson City Symphony. And Commissioner Bugley, you're going to recuse yourself and sit in the audience
Wait,
for...
you need to make a, Commissioner Bugley, can you please make a disclosure on the record as to why you're stepping down? Thanks.
I'm stepping down because I'm president of Carson City Symphony Association. So I submitted the application.
And that would, okay, I think that's plenty. Thanks.
Are we going to, this is going to be the symphony and the Mile High Jazz Band back to back?
If you say so.
Okay, so the commissioner's recusing herself for both.
Okay. Interestingly enough, my name is David Bugley, and for those of you who know us, husband and wife. Anyhow, the Carson City Symphony, we have a request in for $5,000. The symphony runs on a total budget of $60,000. It supports programs for the symphony, which involves usually around 55, 60 musicians for each program. We also support a chorus, chamber singers and a chorus that can be 30 to 45 singers. We do Strings in the Schools program. We used to call it Strings in the Schools. We now call it Symphony Youth Strings. It's about 100 students. We're involved. We have an adult program that involves about 10 musicians that are not up to playing in the orchestra level, and we have a youthful chorus. We're asking for funds for 4 concerts that we're doing in this building. Because this is in the redevelopment district. This would be concerts on October 21st, December 9th, February 24th, and April 26th. We're going to be featuring harmonicas on the first concert. The December concert will involve our Victorian dancers. The February concert will involve a saxophone soloist. We will be doing the premiere of a piece for saxophone and orchestra. It's actually been performed as a piece for wind band and saxophone. And then we're going to be doing a concert in April, that'll feature a concerto by Amanda Meyer. We have wonderful soloist Amanda Meyer being a woman composer. We're trying to promote some things like that along those lines. The symphony started in 1984. We're going into our 31st season. We have an all-volunteer staff. We do have people who are paid. As a conductor, I get paid somewhat. We pay our soloists, we pay accompanists, and we pay our youth string teachers a salary. The money, we need the money to bring in our outside soloists that pay for rehearsal space. I mentioned conductors' fees and 30 seconds. This is going very fast. We want to cooperate with other organizations. We try to market through about 200 printed newsletters, message boards, Facebook, Carson Street banner, wine walk tables at the tables at the wine walk, and we try to market as much as we can. I will talk to my concert master, who has a doctorate in Spanish literature, about helping with maybe getting some more publicity out using to our Hispanic community.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Let's allow for discussion for the symphony, and then I'll give Mr. Bugley another 3 minutes for the next application, next organization, which is Mile High.
Dave, it sounds like the symphony does great work with school groups. Do you offer low-cost tickets or reduced-price tickets for the symphony concerts?
Funny you should ask. We actually give tickets for free to families of the families of the students who are involved in the youth program. Yes.
Thank you.
And many of them, and I would say I'm just estimating that about 40% of that may be Hispanic.
And David, what are your ticket prices normally for concerts?
15. What are 15 and 12. For age 18. For 18 and under, and seniors it's 12. Sorry, I'm not into the money so much. I wave around a stick.
Okay, I do have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Your item number 104, corporate support on your financial statements. Give me a little information on corporate support, and it seems to be kind of low. Do you do corporate requests? I mean, are you out there?
We do try to get corporate support. It's really been difficult. We had a board meeting last night, and the person who's been trying to do that says he just gets a lot of, well, come back later. You know, it really hasn't worked out that as well as it had maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So we do get ads, and we put them in the program for certain organizations, for certain businesses, but we're not getting a lot of support from corporate anymore.
Okay, and under contract service revenue, 102B is for $4,650, but it doesn't say what that includes.
That would be if we were asked to provide some music for an event. We'd have musicians from the orchestra, and we would present a concert along those lines. A lot of that comes from our performances. $3,000 of that is from performing in Genoa. We are representing Carson City and Genoa at the 4th of July, and we replaced the Reno Philharmonic, which had been doing that for a number of years.
Yeah. Okay, I see your membership income is up to $15,685. That's good. So there is
Yes.
Your efforts out there in membership, I know, because I joined, because you sent me a letter. So that's kind of cool.
We have a very good person in terms of keeping on top of those things for us.
Yeah,
and she just sends those things out.
Know who she is, too.
Yeah.
But foundation supports, it seems to me, needs to be some work on that, and corporate support. And maybe I can sit down and talk with you about getting corporate support.
I think part of it's an issue of time, just getting the time to work on the grants. Grants can take a long time to do. We go after the Nevada Arts Council. That's been a supporter of us, and I think we really need these corporate grants because we are trying to keep the product available to all sorts of people without charging too much, without chasing them away.
Okay, would you have a sheet that could be put together about underwriting support?
We do have information about ads, and Mrs. Bugley could help you with that.
Okay, we'll talk. That's it for me.
Anyone else? No? Okay, carry on.
Let me switch my notes. Where are one of my other hats here? Okay, Mile High Jazz Band. Okay, we put on the Jazz and Beyond Festival. We started it in 2004 on the 100th birthday of Count Basie. Yep. And we started doing it at the Brewery Arts Center. We started out, actually, we thought we were going to just do one concert. We put a stage between the Brewery Arts Center's original building and the old church. We wanted people to see that that we could have this nice little art park at the Brewery Arts Center. And in the process of getting the stage out there and thinking about it, we said, well, why don't we invite two other organizations to perform that day, and then it expanded to, I think, 3 or 4 days, just in that first occurrence. And since then, it's grown. But I think that first time we had like 14 performances in 4 days. So what we have now is an event that involves about 60 events. We actually pay for the performers for about 30 of them each year, and we put out a little booklet like this. And we have an all-volunteer staff. Even the person who does our sound work usually volunteers that work for that and his equipment. This will be our 15th annual year. As I say, we keep on growing. It's kind of a follow-on. I shouldn't say it's a follow-on, but it kind of complements Reno's Art Town, which ends at the end of July. We start at the beginning of August. We involve a lot of things like the Silver Saddle Ranch, the Railroad Museum, the Brewery Arts Center. We use that as a venue. Comic Coffee. We do a lot of concerts that we think are good for family, and they're basically all free. This year, so far, we're not planning on charging for entry for any of the events. I think we have a pretty good economic impact, and if I can find that sheet of paper here, I made it separate. We ran it through some America for the Arts document, and we had a total expenses of about $25,600, and that has a household impact in around here of about $92,000, according to this calculator. Local government revenue impact of about $7,400, and a state government revenue just under $10,000. That's according to a calculator that was developed by a couple of people with PhDs, and they're smarter than I am about this. One of the reasons we don't charge admission is because the concept is to show that the whole of downtown Carson City is alive with the arts, and so that's all I'm going to say right now.
Commissioners, any questions? Thank you for all of the work that everybody at Mile High Jazz puts on for this Jazz and Beyond Festival. I know it's a lot of scrambling and a lot of scheduling and looking for venues, but once again, I think that it's really great for the community that there's so many free things to do that month, and so thanks for your contribution towards that.
Okay.
So the understanding is it's a total $10,000 request.
No.
It's 5 and 5, but
No, two different organizations.
It's two different organizations, so we have the same presenter, but representing two different organizations.
Technically, I'm the president of the Mile High Jazz Band Association, which sponsors the Jazz and Beyond.
Thank you, Dave.
Commissioner Bugley, would you want to? rejoin the board? And then can we have Pinkerton Ballet Theater join us, please?
Good evening. My name is Molly Walt. For the record, president of Pinkerton Ballet Theater for, I think, the last 11 years. So we are back again, and the reason we're back again is because Pinkerton Ballet Theater is going to be celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Nutcracker. As I'm trying to find out if we are the longest running Nutcracker in northern Nevada. I know we're not in the state of Nevada. Nevada Ballet Theater in Las Vegas will be going on their 36th. So that was my marketing piece. And so now I'm shooting for another marketing piece. However, the reason we're back here this year, and we haven't been in the past, is because this year we would like to bring back an orchestra. So in year 25, we had a live orchestra, and we would like to do that again in year 30. Also, Pinkerton Ballet Theater is 100% volunteerism. Back behind the stage, lights, booth, spotlights, stage managers, all volunteerism, parents. We do pay our artistic directors and our choreographer, and then we pay for all of our professional dancers and our semi-professional dancers and our collegiate dancers as well. So we do pay for that. We really don't want to raise tickets, and we don't want to raise performance fees. So the local dancers that are in the performance do pay a performance fee to participate in. Did it go out? No. To participate in the Nutcracker. We don't want to have to raise that as well. The one thing that we have been doing is we've been, saving, and we hope to also create new costumes. Our costumes are over 10 years. Some of them are actually 30 years old. So we would really, or 29, I guess. They'll be 30 come November. We'd really like to start paying some more attention to that as well. We need to increase our budgeting, advertising. Like you mentioned, one of the ways that we feel that we get the biggest bang for our buck is the school peaches. And we'll continue to do that as well. And then we also have volunteers walking in the Nevada Day Parade, giving out bookmarkers, and that seems to be pretty effective as well during the parade. So we'll continue to do that, but again, we would like to be able to get radio. We've never advertised on the radio, and we need to get into the radio. We started a couple years advertising on the TV, and it seems to be pretty well, but we would like to be able to get it a couple weeks before. What we're really shooting for is we cannot afford to advertise until about the second week of November. Our first advertising is Nevada Day Parade. We would really like to beat the Nutcracker in Reno at the Grand Sierra. Their advertising starts it's the third or fourth week of October, so we want to beat that. Okay, and the other thing we want to continue to do is offer organizations free tickets. So we haven't increased our tickets, but we always offer the Boys and Girls Club, Advocates to End Domestic Violence, and costs of free tickets every year. And we want to be able to continue to do that as well. And we've been doing that since I've been president, at year 19. So that's why we're here. I know your decision's hard, and I don't envy you. I've been there, and I don't envy you. Any questions?
Molly, I have a question. Do you, on your advertising, go to all the community calendars? Because I know the attendees, because they come to the restaurant, are coming from the lake, and they're coming from all over. So for the various community calendars in the various regions around our area, as far away as Sacramento and Lake Tahoe and Reno, Sparks, all the rest, are you on that? Because that does have a huge outreach.
Yes, what we do is parents volunteer, because we have dancers that come from the lake, and there's parents that volunteer to take the lake, the parents that volunteer to take Douglas County, Lyon County, Washoe. I honestly can't say that we do a lot in Washoe, because they do have the Grand Sierra, and then they have the Nutcracker as well, but we really hope to reach that, because we're feeling as though we hopefully will get dancers from there as well. We've advertised down in Bishop. the last couple years, through contacts through the soccer community, we were able to get down into the Bishop area. So we're trying very hard to utilize our volunteerism as much as we can to get at the biggest bang for our buck.
What's your normal attendance?
I was just trying to figure that out as they mentioned it as well. If I took the ticket prices are, if you do it before a certain date, they're $16 for students and seniors and $18 for adults. And then after a certain date, they're $20 and $22. So if I took an average of that, I would get $19 per ticket, and we would get about maybe $1,500, $1,600. So we did, when we first started going for this dance, it was low. And then we seemed to be increasing our attendance as well. And so, we're really, really hoping that the 30th will be fantastic, is what we're really hoping. Because it's been a Carson City tradition, and it is 3 nights. So we're renting the community center. We move in on Monday. And then, so we rent it, and even though we don't utilize it on Thursday, it is Thanksgiving. We pay for that day, and then we move out Sunday evening. So we rent it for a full week. So, we're really, really wanting this to be a fantastic 30th.
Molly, have you applied for a grant from the Nevada Arts Council?
I missed that deadline. I looked at it, and I did miss it. We knew we were going to get the orchestra, and so when we were doing our budget, we knew that we had that. But what we were looking at is the costumes, really needing the costumes, and that's, then when I looked into it and found that I had missed that deadline.
Have you scheduled your performers for this year? Because you have a $10,700.
We're gracious to have returning performers. So Erica Chip is our Sugar Plum, and she's been dancing with us for years. She's local, and we're very gracious, and without a doubt, they don't get paid much. In all honesty, they do it, I think, because Pinkerton has been part of their family. And so Erica's husband then was also Cavalier. We do have our Snow Queen has moved back to New York, but again, she's been in the Nutcracker for I think Morgan's 22, so I think she's been in it since she was 3. So she'll come back. And so, they're family, and I know that we would like to be able to increase, what we pay them. And so a lot of that too is our Russian dancers have been family as well, and so we do travel expenses. We give them a food per diem, and then we do get hotel rooms for them as well. And then we do ask that they come in on one of the rehearsals, whether it be Tuesday night or Wednesday night, and then we have hotels for them until Sunday or Monday morning.
Molly, going back to the publicity for Spanish speakers, if you need a contact for a very popular Spanish radio station, I'll be happy to share that with you.
Yes, that would be great.
Do you buy tights every season? What is that?
Yes, we do. But as you can see, though, if you look at the income, no, the performers pay for the tights. If you can see through the revenue, the income is tights revenue, and then tights is an expense as well, and it usually washes out. We don't use it as a fundraiser, but yes, the performers, the ballerinas will go through. They can go through 4 or 5 years of tights.
That was amusing.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I don't have any more.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Molly.
All right, thank you.
Can the representative from Proscenium Players step up, please? Thank you.
Hello.
My name is Jennifer Westling. I'm one of the board members of Proscenium Players Incorporated. I've been a member of the organization since 2013, and in the time that I've been a member, we've started an event that's an annual event every Halloween. We've done a Rocky Horror Picture Showing event, and this last year we had some difficulties for it because the rights for it have been raised because they were sold between companies. And this year it looks like that is going to happen again. There are rumors that Disney is going to purchase those rights. We've been doing this event for several years now, I think three or 4 years now, and it's been an event that brings together all sorts of different people and all sorts of different age groups because it's sort of a cult classic and a subculture, counterculture movement that really embraces all of the fun and crazy in life. With this event, sorry, excuse me, my voice is not great tonight. With this event, we've been in partnership with the Brewery Arts Center to put it on. We always do it at their facility. So most of what we do for the event is publicity, and then we put together like goodie bags for the attendees so they can fully participate in the interactive nature of the event that we put on. So there's like cued moments where you can throw rice or toilet paper or whatever as part of the showing, if anyone's ever been to a live showing of it. In future events, we are hoping to add a shadow cast, but in order to do that, we need to get to a place where the rights are no longer an issue for us, which is why we applied for the grant for it this year. If the rights do spike to where we believe they will, I did some research on it, and that's what the numbers in the application are based off of. If they do spike by being bought by Disney, we won't be able to host the event unless we have some financial assistance with it. Sorry. But I want, me personally, having been in this organization and lived in the city for so long, I would like to see this event continue because it's really a place where people can get together, dress up, be safe, and have fun and participate in this multicultural sort of extravaganza of different things to put together. We've always had such an exciting community involvement in it. Different companies get together to donate things for our goodie bags or to do in-kind advertising with us. This last year, we actually had quite a bit of competition compared to previous years where there were 7 Rocky Horror events between here, Reno, and Tahoe, and in the past there were only 2 or 3. So in order for us to be able to pull ahead and continue to keep ours as an annual event, we would like to get some financial assistance to pull ahead. Any questions for you?
Do you go after sponsors or grants in any fashion?
We do. We recently applied for the Partners in Excellence grant, but I mean that's more of a broad blanket one for our season. So that's more going to the 4 play productions we put on a year and the technical workshops that we do for education, whereas this event is more of a community outreach event and we only do 2 of those a year.
But you haven't gone for sponsorships with regards to this particular event?
Not this particular one.
Okay.
Hi, okay, so are there actors at this performance?
Sort of. We have 3 people who participate in the filming. I myself have been one of them. I teach the time warp dance before we show the film, and then during the film I lead a coordinated, everyone gets up and dance alongs with it. And then we have an MC who participates in certain parts of it, and we have someone occasionally do some narration as well.
Right. I used to go to a really fabulous one in Fort Lauderdale. We bring a whole bag of stuff with us. So, so the money that you're requesting is an anticipated rise in cost for the licensing, the license fee that you would have to pay, but you're not sure yet.
Right. So last year, the rights, I believe, were $850. So the rights that are listed in there, I believe I have them as 2,000, yeah. And that is an anticipated cost. We won't know until the deal has been made or has not been made with regards to Disney purchasing the rights. Which, I mean, hopefully we could find that out sooner rather than later, but who knows on those things. But yes, that is an anticipated cost, and that is our largest obstacle for this event, is those rights.
Even with that put into the budget, you're showing an expected profit of $2,500?
We do charge.
Or am I misreading?
Yeah, right. So that's with our ticket pricing and with purchasing the goodie bags, and as well as purchasing raffle tickets and such along those lines. I may have put that on the wrong line though. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems that if you're expecting to make a profit of $2,500, but you're asking for $2,500, do you really?
I must have put it on the wrong line then, excuse me. No, we don't typically make anywhere close to that. I believe we made 1,000 last year, so.
And you had how many people attend last year? Around 200, you think?
Not quite that many. I think 160, 180.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Right, and we had some people that would come like for the first half and leave before the showing itself and stuff like that. So some of the numbers are a little off because of that.
That's with everything, isn't it? Okay. Any other questions?
No?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next presentation will be by Sierra Nevada Ballet. We'll allocate 3 minutes to discuss Midsummer Night's Dream, and then I'll call you on 30 seconds and we'll have discussion, and then we'll do the same for Peanut Cracker.
Hello, my name is Kathy. I am representing Sierra Nevada Ballet. So I will talk to Midsummer Night's Dream, which is our main summer production we're coordinating this year, which is a very large undertaking. As you know, maybe you don't know, but Shakespeare's play is, they're all very language rich, but this one is very character rich. And so we have found that we need to supplement our current company more heavily than we have in the past. So we did hold a national audition across the country. We video auditioned several dancers from professional companies and have contracted with 11 dancers who are coming in addition to our local company will be performing. And then we also have a children's audition for the children's roles. So we'll have a cast of about 60 for this summer production. Let's see. We have performed in Carson as Sierra Nevada Ballet for 17 years, and so it's not something new, but we are always trying to grow our audience and try new things. So the new thing that we are doing along this ballet is we're putting a steampunk flair fantasy. So that will be new. We're trying to reach a new genre of audience members in the sort of the younger sector. Apparently there is a very large steampunk in our area, so we are reaching out to them, and in doing so, we are working with 2 local artists: Cindy Joy, who owns Madame Huff and Bustle's Steam Couture, and Shelley Jackson, who runs Clockwork Monster. They are helping with our costuming and doing some of that type of consulting with us, and also working with the High Desert Steam group to put on what we're hoping is a couple of events, one in Reno and one in Carson, to go along with the ballet. So it will be an artist interaction, sort of meet the artist in the background and interact along with that. So I'm trying to think, what else do I have to say? We have upped our marketing for this, but our basic ask is for covering the artist fees for those 11 artists coming in. So that's where the main money needs to go. Do you want me to move right into peanut cracker? Or do you have any questions about?
Do we have any questions for her on the? Okay.
Okay. And so peanut cracker, we're back for peanut cracker. And this is our, well, I don't have the numbers. 2002 is when we started presenting peanut cracker, and it is a shortened version of the nutcracker. It is our main educational outreach. So we started this not for public performance, but for school performances, basically. And so every year we're trying to get more and more schools involved by offering reduced ticket prices and covering bus funding, because it's very, very difficult to get the classes there. We've even asked, a lot of schools have said, we'll walk if you can cover the cost of the tickets instead of the busing, and that just doesn't seem right in December, so we try not to do that. So when we have the extra funds, we try to cover the costs of the classes, and by doing so, we do some community outreach to local businesses in addition to our foundation grants to cover the cost of those school tickets. We do also, in Carson, offer 2 public performances in addition to the 2 school performances. Also at reduced cost. Because it's a much shortened version of the Nutcracker, our tickets are a lot less than traditional Nutcracker tickets, but they are less than what it costs for us to produce it. So we still need to find a way to cover that difference there. Let's see. We do offer several pieces in addition to just the performance. It is a narrated performance, but there is a short lecture ahead of time to talk about some of the pantomime and some of the gestures that the students will see. We also offer a educational packet to any teacher who wants it that is geared towards the core curriculum, which needs to be updated now. I think with the new art standards, we need to have somebody take a look at that and help us coordinate those standards again. This year we are wanting to incorporate a sign language interpreter all the way through the ballet, and also translate the story into the ballet story, not the Nutcracker story, but the ballet story, which is, slightly different, into Spanish. And our goal is to any teacher that would like a Spanish version of the book is to provide a Spanish version when they go. We do have several classes that request. We have a couple of dancers who go to the schools and will give a short lecture. So that's that.
I see that you seek out sponsors for the at-risk children so they can attend. Do you try to seek sponsors to help offset any of your other costs besides your grants that you apply for?
For other costs? No. When we seek sponsors, corporate sponsors, basically it is strictly per class. So if they have a class in mind, it is to cover just the cost of that class. If they donate larger than the class attendance, we apply it to another class that we know is in a very low-income school.
And I would just suggest maybe marketing in Spanish, maybe on the Spanish radio station, since you are now incorporating some Spanish aspects. Thank you.
Okay. Can I ask a question back on that?
Sure.
On the marketing in Spanish on the radio station, would that be something they would translate, or we have to provide that in Spanish?
They will translate that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, could I get a little bit more information about the total donations not reflected on the financial statements? There's a $242,564 thing here. It says, in 2016, total donations not reflected in the financial statement equaled approximately $147,000 of expenses and $95,000 for dancers' expenses, for a total of
All in kind. Yeah, sorry. As far as I know, that would all be in kind if it's not reflected properly in there or in those line items. Many of our company dance members, well, not many, all of them donate their rehearsal time. So,
okay.
And then, yeah, so that's a big chunk of that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It doesn't say that.
Okay.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Our final presentation tonight will be by Wild Horse Productions.
There's one now. Hi, everybody. I'm Carol Scott, Executive Director, Wild Horse Children's Theater. Last but not least, we are requesting $5,000 support for the Northern Nevada premiere of the Broadway hit musical Newsies. It's the largest scale production that Wild Horse has ever attempted, and we will need to use the community center for the scale of this production. The community center does give us a discounted nonprofit rate, but even with that, it would be beyond our budget to produce this musical. If you're not familiar with Wild Horse, we are entering our 11th year. We're the resident theater company at the Brewery Arts Center, which is our home, and we're also a national award-winning theater company. We won the Freddie G. Award of Excellence at the Junior Theater Festival this past February, so I'm very proud of our young actors. We have a no child turn away policy. We do not turn anyone away if they cannot afford our minimal tuition fee. We have a scholarship fund. We have over 100 children in each show, 60 to 100 children, and we keep our ticket prices low so that we can connect the theater with as many people in our community as possible. We also do school outreach programs to bring the magic of live theater to the kids that cannot go to these shows. This past show, when we did Junie B. Jones, we had over 1,500 school children in 3 shows in one day on a school day. So these kids work hard. We also collaborate with the Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Eagle Valley Children's Home come to our programs, and also we are working with the Carson City School District on a summer program this year. We have audiences from all over Nevada, California, Utah, and even the East Coast. We want to bring this to draw families into the city who also spend money on food, shopping, lodging, and doing other family activities in Carson City. Oh, okay. Most of all, we believe in engaging young people in our community. And Newsies brings a timeless message about fighting for what's right. It's an important message for our youth and everyone at this time in history. So we're asking you, the commissioners, to help us seize the day.
It's time to seize the day. Now it's time to seize the day. Answer the call and don't delay. Answer the call and don't delay. Proud and defiant, we'll slay the giant. Judgment Day is here. House into Harlem. Look what's begun. One for all and all for one. Strike!
Thank you. Sorry, we're theatrical.
That's perfect timing, too.
Yeah, well, that's what I did, 30 seconds. Thank you, guys. Sit down and listen to the rest. This is your civic responsibility. Sorry, we're very theatrical.
Don't apologize.
Any questions? Oh, we also translate our flyers for the schools and everything, so.
And Carol, how do you get the word out?
We do media blitzes, we have the BAC, we have Wild Horse, we have our newsletter. We do everything possible that we can do through all the tourism. We make sure we're on every calendar, Peaches in the schools. So we're really out there.
I have one more question. Sorry, Carol. Have you approached private sponsors, and how's that going?
We do approach private sponsors for things like our costumes, for smaller grants. Like we're renting all of our costumes for Mary Poppins from the community, from WNC. So we do get sponsorship for that. We got a $10,000 grant for a new sound system, which we really, really needed at the Brewery Arts Center. So that was our biggest grant to date.
Good job, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. So that was our 11th and final applicant. Maybe the commission wants to take a recess for 5 minutes to put your numbers together? Okay. Very cool. Very impressive. That was
Are we ready to reconvene? Commissioners, are we ready to reconvene? Okay. All right. Yeah, one more minute. Okay, we're ready to reconvene. Mark, go ahead.
Okay, if I could get everyone's attention, please. I want to thank all of the applicants and our youth for being here today. I've been on both sides of the panel table, both as an artist, a grant applicant, and a grant panelist. I think this quarter's Employee of the Month said, you do, and then the next time you try to do better, And we have a lot of new organizations here represented in the yellow that are trying to do. And we have a lot of foundation organizations here in Carson City that do better and better and better. It's a tough decision to make, but I assure the applicants and the artists here that not only am I working full-time on trying to determine and figure out how we can fund a growing arts community in Carson City, that we have a commission that's responsible for doing so as well, and have put in their fair share of work just in the short time that I've been here. So let's start with, we'll go out, if you can see your initials up there.
Can I make a special request? This is an informal type of survey for applicants who receive funds from us tonight. But try to pay attention to how much the marketing that's going to be provided to you as part of your grant. Try to let us know how much that helped. Because maybe we can reduce your marketing out-of-pocket costs with all these other pro bono services that will be on the table for you to utilize. So I'm interested in maybe if we can reduce some of your advertising costs by just getting one of these grants. So I'm just throwing that out there as an informal request.
Thank you. So just to recap, I'm going to type in all of the numbers here. It's very possible that the recommended amount is under this $32,200. If it is over, again, I ask the commission that we reconvene so I can determine scenarios. This is just an example of how to disperse that difference, whether it's unilaterally across all applicants, whether if higher scores have less of an amount of money shaved off the top. And again, this is all the first time we've been doing this.
So, Mark?
Yes.
We have the 5 factors, or 6 factors rather, but we don't have anything to evaluate whether the budget is reasonable. That part of it is separate.
The scoring criteria is what the board.
Should that follow? So Ellie, should that follow under clarity of application? I mean, if they're narrative and budget?
It's Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's score the Brewery Art Center, please.
So, 26 for Terry McBride.
30 for Barbara Dene.
30 for Karen.
25.
26 for Lupe Ramirez.
And Capital City Arts Initiative?
26 for Terry.
30 for Barbara.
30 for Karen.
27.
30 for Lupe.
Back to school, Bash, for the Carson City Classic Cinema Club.
22 for Terry.
25 for Barbara.
25 for Karen.
26.
30 for Lupe.
And then the pirate event.
21 for Terry.
22 for Barbara.
Your microphone, please, Barbara.
Go.
Microphone every time you say your score. 22 for Barbara.
Okay.
25 for Karen.
26.
25 for Lupe.
Carson City Symphony.
27 for Terry.
27 for Barbara.
25 for Karen.
No vote.
25 for Lupe.
And Mile High Jazz Band, please.
28 for Terry.
30 for Barbara.
30 for Karen.
No vote.
28 for Lupe.
20?
28.
Okay. Pinkerton Ballet.
24 for Terry.
30 for Barbara.
28 for Karen.
26.
30 for Lupe.
Proscenium Players.
21 for Terry.
22 for Barbara.
21 for Karen.
23.
30.
Sierra Nevada Ballet Midsummer Night's Dream.
26 for Terry.
29 for Barbara.
28 for Karen.
30.
29 Lupe. 29 Lupe.
Sierra Nevada Ballet Peanut Cracker.
24 for Terry.
28 for Barbara.
25 for Karen.
29 Ellie.
27 Lupe.
And finally, Wild Horse Productions.
23 for Terry.
30 for Barbara.
30 for Karen.
30 for Lupe.
Well, Commissioner Bugley, please.
27.
Okay. So the total recommendation is $37,765.67. Here you can see the average score and the far left column, the average funding in the center, and that recommended amount is the percentage of the ask. So the difference is 15%, approximately $5,565.67. So,
Mark, is there a way that you can scroll over a little bit so that we can see the organizations on one edge of the screen
let me try.
and then the number? There we go. Okay.
There you go.
No.
Oops.
Hang on.
Now we need glasses. Bigger ones.
A little bit smaller. There we go.
Got it.
It's in between a click. There we go.
So
So what I'm going to propose to bring to a special meeting, the next meeting, before our July meeting, is that a couple of scenarios of how to bring the 37,000 to 32,000. Whether that difference is subtracted among everyone unilaterally, or, like I said, we create a custom chart, something like this, which looks at the percentages here and distributes the money based on the percentages. As you can see, these are very high percentages that we have. But it'll create a chart like this, but based upon the hierarchy of these percentages and how that's allocated. Is that clear for everyone? Is that clear for the applicants? Okay.
I'm ready to throw out some numbers, but if you want to take a stab at it, and then we'll pick it apart at a special meeting and have everybody come back, it's up to you.
The applicants wouldn't need to be,
They may want to come.
They might want to come. But I think we covered a lot of new territory, and I think if everyone went home with this information, it would be to our benefit to allow me the necessary time to make sure that we've gone through this much time and effort, that we actually get something done that we could actually use as a template going forward, because this is all new territory.
All right, well, I have some proposed numbers written down for tonight. I will bring them to the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as mentioned, I'm forfeiting for discussion only my cultural report for tonight. For future agenda items, I'll give my True Grit report at our next July meeting, which is marked here as July 9th at 5:30. Are there any commissioner reports or comments?
I just want to remind people to get their tickets for the concert Under the Stars at carsоncitygreenhouse.org. The tickets are going fast, so if you want to be there for Jefferson Starship, get online.
How was your plant sale?
Excellent. We made $5,100.
Good. Can we entertain a date for this special meeting? Calendars are pretty full.
I would discuss it now, but I need to get in touch with April, who books this room, to make sure there's an availability. But I'll send out a few alternate dates.
Okay, let's do that.
And then I will also email all the representatives from the organizations to allow them to know what time that is if they want to show up.
I'm beside myself. Okay.
So do you have some dates that we need to knock off possibilities, or just let him figure out what the availability is, and we'll go from there?
Mark, I will be out of town the 10th to the 14th of June, just so you know. But I'm sure you're probably doing this sooner.
Right.
To let them know.
Yeah. The second week of June's okay.
Just for everyone's information, I'll be looking to do this within the next 2 weeks.
Next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Before the end of May.
Okay.
Okay, good.
All right, sounds good. I'm sure the applicants will appreciate that. They'll want to know.
Yeah. I'll make it work.
Yep, I will too.
Just make it work. Oh. Not this weekend.
So, future agenda items, commissioner reports, comments, upcoming meetings. We will schedule the special meeting to announce the final numbers on these RAC development funds. And at this time, we will take public comments and discussion, 3-minute time limit, please. And anyone can come forward to comment on anything that's under our authority.
I just wanted to thank you for honoring Jeffrey That was quite a surprise today. He worked really hard, and he loved Carson City and the arts, and he worked so hard. And 2 of my kids are here, my grandson, so thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Carol.
Gina Hillbury Art Center. I just wanted to talk real quick about our upcoming Levitamp concert series. We have a lineup done. We're very excited. We're starting on June 23rd with the Original Wailers, Bob Marley's band, and it's going to be every Saturday night through August 25th. A couple exciting events are happening within that. One of our bands is Eileen Quinn and the Leaping Lizards Band, and she was the original Annie. If you remember the movie with Carol Burnett and Tim Curry, she was Annie. And she's going to be working with us doing an outreach program with all these guys, and we're going to show Annie in our theater with her at the Brewery Arts Center for a little meet and greet event with the Boys and Girls Club, Wild Horse Children's Theater, and also our outreach program at Empire Elementary School for the summertime. So that's going to be a really fun event. Also, KNBP has come on as our major media sponsor, and they're going to be filming our concerts, at least 4 of them, for PBS, and we're looking to really create a Austin City Limits program out of it. They're giving us a $25,000 sponsorship, and providing all the promotion and tech and commercials for our event. So we're really looking at taking this to the next level.
Can we make a plea that the Levitt donation of $25,000 needs to be matched? It would be lovely to match it. So
I second that.
Put money in the basket.
No, thank you. The series costs about $125,000 to produce, so we really appreciate everything. And sponsors are coming, and we have received massive community support. Thank you.
Binder because I can't store it. I know my files are too full.
Hi, Sharon. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sharon Ross, Capital City Arts. Please save Friday, June 1st. We are opening our next courthouse exhibition. Visual Oasis Works from Creative Growth. We're having a number of, I'm not sure the count, but more than a dozen artists from Creative Growth Art Center in Oakland, which serves disabled artists. We have some amazing work. It's absolutely wonderful, so I hope you can join us for the reception.
Is that 5 to 7, Sharon, or is that 4 to 7?
5 to 7. Flyers are going in the mail on the 18th, so look in your mailbox.
Thank you.
None. Thank you for your time.